Welcome back to New York Got Game. The New York Knicks, they continue to roll. They've won 16 of their last 22 games. They just opened up their West Coast road trip with a statement win over the defending champion Denver Nuggets. Then they lost to the Lakers on Sunday. So currently 1-1 on the road trip. The vibes seem to be pretty good. The defense is tightened up. The offense, more balanced right now. Jalen Brunson, he's continuing to play at an all-NBA level. So the big question right now is simple. Are we watching the best version of the Knicks that we've seen all season? So, to break it all down, I'm joined by Brittany Rosas of the Knicks of Time Show. Brittany, what's good? Great to have you back on New York Got Game. How's it going?
Thank you. The vibes are definitely still immaculate. They weren't so the last show, so I'm glad to get into it.
Yeah,
Glad to get into it.
no, definitely. The last time I had you on, the vibes were, I won't say it was down, it was just really shaky, and now it's a lot better. And yeah, I see no 6-7, but I see you there with that. But Brittany, the Knicks, as I mentioned, they've won 16 of the last 22 games. They had that statement win in Denver the other night, beating down the Nuggets. Then they lose to the Lakers. But as I said, 16 out of 22. It's pretty good, and the defense has been strong. So when you watch this team right now, do you feel like we're seeing the best version of the Knicks so far this season?
I think the potential's there. I think the potential's there. I think we're starting to see the best version. I think we got a glimpse of it early November. The way we also started off at home. I believe we were undefeated at some point at home until we fell short a couple games there. MSG we were rocking and rolling there. We did kind of have some ruts in between, and I'm glad we got them out the way because then again, we got into our groove, which I stated in our last show. No need to panic. Everything's going to be okay. And as we can see, everything's all right because, like you stated, 16 out of 22 is great. That's way over 500. And we've beaten some great teams, not just mediocre teams, not just some below teams. We beat some great teams and we got some nice comeback wins and we show some grit and we show some fight in some of those wins. So I think that it's not the best, I don't believe, but the potential is there. And I think we're headed in a direction, a great direction, especially with the postseason right around the corner.
Okay, so you feel good about where the Knicks are and where they're headed, but you know this from watching basketball as long as you have. Sometimes a team, they can win games without necessarily playing their best basketball. So when you watch the Knicks right now during this stretch, do they pass the eye test as a team that has really hit another level? Because it looks that way, at least defensively. So what are you seeing? What is the eye test telling you with this Knicks team? Have they hit another level?
Most definitely. I think our biggest issue was the defense. I think even though we were winning those games, we were also allowing a lot of points being scored. And again, the biggest thing was some of the people that we acquired before and after the trade deadline. I think we had some people there where we weren't sure if we could win with them or if we weren't sure if they continuously fit. So I'm glad that we made some of the changes because I think now with the group that we have, everybody's aware of their role, what they need to do to get to the glory. So yeah, I'm liking where we're at right now. I don't think again we're at our full potential, but again, I like where we're headed, where we're going, and how the team has been coming together in these last few games.
Yeah, team has been coming together for sure. And Jalen Brunson, his game has taken another turn recently, right? Because he's not shot the ball well. We could keep it a buck about that. He has not shot the ball well, but we're seeing more playmaking from him. We're seeing more control of the offense, better pace management. What has stood out to you about the way he's running this team during the stretch? Because you and I know you've seen this on social media. Some Knicks fans saying that he hogs the ball too much, shoots too much, but he's been dishing the ball really well despite the poor shooting. So what stood out to you about how JB has been running the team during the stretch?
The 40 assists in the last three games before today, and only five turnovers. How well is not only he's facilitating, but he's taking care of the ball. We already know Jalen Brunson can score. That was a thing since he's came to New York City. He's a guy that can score in bunches and very at a very high rate, very efficiently. But we have not seen this type of facilitation from him. We get glimpse of it. So where I always get the ball hog narratives, I'm also unclear because we've seen glimpse of it. It's just the thing with it is the inconsistency of it. We have games where he does in the low department in the assist, and I think that kind of what separates him from other MVP talks because he only does get a high rate in points and he doesn't get a lot of rebounds or assists. And I think that if he was a point guard who got the 8, 9, 10 assists, he would easily be in MVP conversations. But we do sometimes struggle with that. So I think what stands out to me the most is just how involved he's getting the other players because we do need these other guys again to get to the glory. So I like that he's getting everybody else involved. He's also getting facilitation within his game, but also while taking care of the ball.
No, he has been doing that. I know Sunday against the Lakers. He had 6 turnovers, but he really done a good job of taking care of the ball. And you talked about getting other guys involved, but for most of the season, the Knicks, they've relied heavily on Brunson and his offense. But lately, we've seen big contributions from guys like OG Anunoby, who killed Denver on Friday night. Karl-Anthony Towns, who's been really solid since the All-Star break. Mikal Bridges, who we saw even have arguably his best game of the season against the Spurs last Sunday. How important has that offensive balance been to this recent run that we've seen from the Knicks?
It's extremely important. Um, my favorite quote that I always like to continuously say over and over is teams win a championship, not players. We're glad that we have a player that could put us in conversations to win a championship in Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson can't do it alone. He's going to need Karl-Anthony Towns. Wing stop in general is important because our two stars lack the defense ability. That's why we brought these two guys in for the defense. So we are not across the board bad defensively. So I'm glad that we are just getting them involved. This is why we made the trades. This is why we gave up the picks. This is why we paid what we paid. Because I think when we get them involved, we can win. We can win it all, especially if we get, again, a Denver OG. We get a Spurbs Mikal. We get an Austin since All-Star break Karl. We get a facilitator in Jalen Brunson. This team is going to be very hard to put down in 7 games.
They could be really strong. Like you said, it's going to be hard to beat the Knicks when all those guys are clicking on all cylinders right there. So the one thing I think when I look at this stretch, Brittany, that's really stood out to me, and I'm sure you might agree, it's the defense. The Knicks, they've been able to win games even when their offense isn't perfect. And we know how good the Knicks have been. They've been a top 3 offense for most of this season. But do you think this team has finally found this defensive identity? Because the last time you and I spoke, they were sort of still searching for that defensive identity, right? They still hadn't really fully figured it out. But do you think they've fully found their defensive identity right now? Do you think they figured that out?
You know what's so crazy is that I did see a fun fact that the last, I believe, 10 or 12 championships, they were top 10 in defensive rating. You have to be a defensive team to win a championship. So that was one of the things that I was concerned about because I saw that the offense, we even through the slumps, we were high. The offense was running, it was clicking, we were staying top 10, but we were very low in the defensive ratings. And that was something that alarmed me because they don't say defense wins championships for no reason. It's very clear that defense is needed. So when I saw that we went from 17th to 10 to then 7, and I don't know where we stand today specifically, but when I saw us climbing up, I started to see that this team is actually serious about winning a championship again. It was kind of a concern throughout the season because the talent has always been there. What we always discussed, it was the mentality and it was the physicality. And a part of physicality is defense. So to see that come together finally and us enter and start to have these conversations that, wait, we could win, it's pretty cool. And I think that if we continue to stay at this rate, especially if we get into the top 5, crack top 5, it's going to be, again, hard to bring this team down. And again, I don't see how, if we're playing defense well, even if the offense isn't clicking, how we can't win games, let alone series.
And look, I've said it all season long on the show. I said if the Knicks can somehow, with the way their offense is and the way they're able to, especially right now, I know they've had some rough shooting nights, but when this offense is clicking, they seem they can do whatever they want. Could they become a top 8 to 10 defense? Now, we've seen them get up high to 7. You just mentioned top 5. If they get into the top 5, that's really, really elite company, and they really can look like a championship contender. But right now, the way they're playing defense, even in the loss to the Lakers, right? They had that stretch where the Lakers in the fourth quarter didn't hit a shot for over 6.5 minutes. Now, it's unfortunate the Knicks couldn't make any shots, but it showed you their defense can play for good stretches and give them a chance to come back even when their offense isn't clicking. So I'm really impressed with this defense right now. So we talked about OG Anunoby. He just had a massive performance in Denver. He continues to be one of the most important two-way players on this team, Brittany. How much does his health, for one, and his defensive presence raise the ceiling of this Knicks group? How impactful is OG Anunoby to this Knicks group?
Very important. Very important. And it's funny that you stated 2 ways to this team. He's actually one of the best 2-way players in the game, I believe. So which makes him extremely important. Without OG, I don't know how far we can go, which is why one of the years where he went down, it was hard for us to contend right after he went down. OG is just as important right after Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. I think that he's the third most important player for the Knicks. And sometimes he could be the second most important. Because again, when we see Jalen Brunson I'm not able to pick up his offensive game, but we still get Karl-Anthony Towns' contribution, If we get OG to fill in what Jalen Brunson could do offensively, I think sky's the limit. And I made a joke about when OG plays like Denver, Knicks and four, Knicks and four. It's going to be hard to beat that type of team with that type of contribution. So I think he's extremely important. His health, we're going to need him, and I'm glad that he has been healthy majority of the season for us because we typically see him go down, and sometimes it's for a very long time. But the times that he went down this season, just for a little glimpse, but he came right back, and he's been playing very strong.
No, he has been playing very strong. The defense has been really strong lately. Even when he first came back from his latest injury, the offense wasn't there, but the defense has really been there lately. We got to talk about it's a guy who we talked about the last time you came on this show, and we were in this space where we were like, we don't know what to do with this player. But you recently, on this episode, you just gave him his flowers. That is Karl-Anthony Towns. He's continued to adjust his role in this offense. So my question to you, Brittany, is when he's playing with, I would say the force, the controlled force I want to see because that he's been playing with. Because a lot of times we saw him, he was, offensive fouls, out of control. But the control force and then the spacing the floor, what does that do for the Knicks' offensive ceiling?
Again, makes us contenders. Him and OG are very important, and I think Towns is more important than OG Anunoby, which is why again I would give him his flowers because when he plays like an all-star, like he plays the $50+ million contract, there's no complaints. Zero complaints. And I think that we have to highlight the fact that yes, he fouled out recently, but his fouls has been under control. Mostly the hook. We haven't been seeing him hook a lot. We see him playing with more control, especially in the paint. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that mentally, I think because of me personally believe he knows I'm here to stay. I don't have to worry about where I'm going to be playing. And now that he knows his role, he's playing it well. This is why, again, it was hard for me to continuously shut the door on him and talk bad on him. He's talented, very talented. And he's a guy that I don't know how many centers can play his game where they can rebound at a high rate, give you a space to floor out, and also dominate in the paint. And I like the fact that he's taking advantage of some of his mismatches, most specifically recently against Jokic. Jokic is not known to play defense very well. Got to take advantage of that. Tonight, also, I understand it. Aiden is up and down with his play, but got to take advantage of that. So I like that he's taking advantage because he is one of the best centers in the league when he plays as such. And if he is playing as one of the best centers in the league, it's a big, 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 big factor on how we could win it all this year.
To that point, there's some, and just as a follow up, there's been some Knicks fans that have talked about the team should play a little bit more through him. And we have seen Mike Brown give him some more post-op opportunities in the last couple of weeks. Do you think the Knicks need to give Cap more touches on offense? Do you think he can do even more? Do you like kind of the balance of where he is right now in the team?
That's why again I'm really happy that Jalen Brunson is now facilitating because I think he should be the number one option. I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but I think if we get Karl Towns going first, then Jalen into his groove to then lead off OG and Mikal and Hart and everybody else, they're just icing on the cake. But if we get Karl to play well, again, he spaces out the court so much. I think the offense would go easily through Jalen Brunson more than him dribbling so much and having to force or look for his shot. I think they will now focus on him because he is a main. When he gets going, you have to focus on him because he could get that three flying. He could also dominate the paint and he hits free throws pretty well for playing for a big man. So I know a lot of people don't agree, but I think yes, I like that he is more into the offense. Again, we don't see him being the number one option just yet if we may ever, but I think he should become the number one option, or we should continuously feature him in the offense at this high level.
All right. Well, we have to see if Cat can keep up the good play. He's been really good over this stretch. The last 22 games have been really efficient offensively. Now, we talk about the stretch. A lot of these recent wins that we've seen from the Knicks, they've had a playoff-style feel, right? Whether even at parts of the game, slower pace, defensive battles, grinded out possessions. Do you think this style of play for the Knicks, particularly on defense, is going to translate well into the postseason for them as we're only 17 games away for the Knicks?
One would like to hope so. I would like to hope so because one of the biggest issues with the Knicks has been consistency. We keep getting glimpses of really good basketball. We keep going on really good runs, and then we bump into certain teams, and it just seems like we forgot all about the things that we did to help us win or to get into those grooves. So that's just my biggest concern: the consistency. I think we it's very clear that we are a playoff team. It's very clear that we also are one of the favorites. So that to me. I'm not concerned about getting out of the first or second round, even with the slumps. But it's about when we get to that that Eastern Conference Finals and trying to make that finals run that I do seem to a little bit be concerned because playoff is a whole different ballpark. That's a whole different animal in itself. You can't really take so much of what somebody does in the regular season because a lot of teams prepare you for 7 games, not just one game. So I would like to see the I like to see the changes that we make during that time frame, but I think that my only concern with it is the consistency. Aside from that, I think that we're clearly contenders, might be favorites for some, especially us, but I would just love to see the consistency.
Yeah, I think that's still what Knicks fans want to see. Seen it consistently pretty much through this stretch, but can they now close the season strong with 17 games to go? So 3 games left on this 5-game road trip, Brittany, with the second of a back-to-back Monday night against the Clippers, then Wednesday at the Jazz, then in Naptown to take on the Pacers on Friday night. What are you going to be keeping your eye on as the Knicks look to continue to improve their road record on this trip? What are you watching?
Well, I want to get my leg back on Pacers. Not for last year, but even that recent loss that we took for the Pacers. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how we come out against them specifically. My main focus has always been the East. I know we want to win these every game, especially any road game, because that's been our struggle. We again have a really good record in Madison Square Garden, but it seems like when we get on the road, we seem to have some troubles. And if we're going to keep slipping in the standings or stay where we are, we want to have home court advantage. So if that's not the case, you're going to have to play more games away than at home. So that's always been my main concern on getting some away wins because you do have to play some games away during series. So I would like to us to see how we come out against the Pacers. How we come. It seems like we always bump into teams that are hot. Clippers are playing well again. The Jazz is always a team you don't want to take light. Any team in the NBA you don't want to take light on any night. You can lose. So I'm just looking us to see how we keep bouncing back because I think that's been our biggest plus. It seems that every time we get punched in the mouth, we have finally bounced back the next game. So I'm just to see if we can continuously have that type of game. Got lost to the Lakers, cool, but can we come out against the Clippers and respond after a bad loss?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they can respond on the second night of a back-to-back, and can they continue? Knicks need to get that road record a little bit better. They started to play better on the road lately. We'll see if they can finish out the season strong. Speaking of finishing out, we're going to finish out with this. Here's the thing for me, Brittany. Even with this hot stretch for the Knicks, they've won 16 out of their last 22 games. We know this. Every team has got their flaws. So, what are the biggest questions you still have about this Knicks team as they have 17 games to go before they head into the playoffs? What's the biggest question for Brittany Rosas with this Knicks team right now?
That's a great question. My biggest, when the three isn't falling, what are we going to do? When the three isn't falling, what are we going to do? For the sole fact that we relied on it very heavily this season. And it seems like every time we have a poor shooting night at the three line, we have a poor game or we come out with a loss. It's very rare that we shot the three ball horribly and we came out with the win this season. So I just want to see what we do at the half when the three isn't falling because it's clear that we can play defense. It's clear that we can even get the offense rolling for even Carl or OG, Mikel, even after bad nights. But can the three ball fall? So I just want to know what we're going to do if that isn't the case, especially in a league where the three ball is so dominant and it's going to be probably a key factor in a playoff series.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a fair concern. We saw the three ball not fall well for the Knicks against the Thunder last week. Also saw it against the Lakers. So they have struggled in those games. They got to figure that out. How do you win? And those are games that could be ugly. You're going to see games like that in the postseason. So can the Knickerbockers figure it out? But still, look, the vibes are good. Much better than the last time we talked, Brittany. 16-6. I
No
hope
need to panic, Dex. I told you. I
you
told
did.
you.
Listen, to be fair, you did say that. I'm not the person that hits the panic button. There were a lot of Knicks Nation that hit the panic button during that 2-9
Yeah.
stretch. Some people are gonna hit the panic button after they lost to
Even
the
now,
Lakers.
yeah.
You know it's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
even now.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Even now. But I think the Knicks are in really good shape. We'll see how they close out the season strong. Everybody, that is Brittany Rosas. Check her out with the Knicks of Time Show. Does a great job there. Shout out to Jay Ellis, Lee, and the entire crew. Ebony,
My
everybody
voice.
else on that show. Brittany, I appreciate you. The
I
second time,
appreciate you.
better vibes than the first time. Hopefully the next time we'll be talking, it'll be even better times. We'll definitely have you again here on New York Got Game.
Especially when we make the finals, you better have me back, Dex.
Wow. Is that a prediction? Are we going with that as a
No,
prediction?
that is I told you. I don't see any team in the East still. We're gonna close out with that. I don't know any team in the East still that can beat the Knicks in 7, not healthy.
So let me just be clear. I want to be clear for the people. Despite the fact that they've lost to the Pistons 3 times this year, you're saying the Knicks are going to the finals, and I have to have you back on when the Knicks are in the finals. That's what we're saying.
Yes, especially when we eliminate the Detroit Pistons. And after we eliminate the Detroit Pistons and then we make the finals, yes, have him back for both.
All right, I like it. You said it with your chest. I like it. Brittany Rosas, everybody. Dexter Henry. We'll catch you another edition of New York Got Game.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.